1917 is the newest film from director Sam Mendes and follows two British soldiers in the First World War that are tasked to deliver a message to the 2nd Battalion calling off an attack on the Germans, who plan on ambushing them after faking a retreat. 1917 was a movie that I was excited to see because it's a big budget studio movie that is set during World War I. I am a huge history buff, but World War I never gets a lot of love in film or TV, so anytime something comes out that's set in it, my interest is always piqued. I was also interested in seeing it due to the fact that the legendary Roger Deakins was the cinematographer for the film, and I really don't need to say anything about how amazing he is at his craft since he's been so revered by many people over the years. After seeing this movie, I can say that it lived up to my expectations and then some. The strongest aspect of 1917 is unquestionably the cinematography by Roger Deakins. Deakins finally won his long-deserved Oscar for Blade Runner 2049 2 years ago, but he should win it again this year for his impeccable work on this film. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that this film was shot to make it look like it was all done in one take, but it's seriously incredible what Deakins was able to pull off here. Sure, there are places in the film where you can tell there are invisible cuts, such as a character walking into a dark room or another person or object obscuring the view of the camera for a brief second, but there are a lot of scenes where there are long, uninterrupted takes that go on for quite some time. I can only imagine how difficult this must have been to pull off, but the final result is nothing short of incredible. I know this is a weird comparison, but the way this movie was filmed reminded me heavily of the Alfred Hitchcock film Rope, with how it's made to resemble one take, but there are parts where you can tell there are invisible cuts. I know there are other films that have the same filming technique, but Rope is the one that this film reminded me of the most. The production design in 1917 is excellent. Everything looks incredibly period accurate, such as the costumes and the different locations that the main characters go to, particularly the battlefields and trenches. There are also a ton of practical effects, and there's very minimal use of CGI, which immerses you into the film incredibly well. The performances are also strong as well, with George McKay and Dean Charles Chapman being terrific in their roles as the main protagonists. There are a few big-name actors in here, such as Benedict Cumberbatch, Colin Firth, and Mark Strong, but their roles are incredibly small, yet effective. The musical score by Thomas Newman is also outstanding and adds a lot of tension and suspense to the movie. I could see people finding it to be a little jarring compared to the rest of the film, but I think it increases the grittiness and realism of the film exponentially, and some scenes wouldn't have worked as well as they did without the score. The sound design is also top-notch, and like with the production design, it immerses you into the film very well. It's incredibly powerful and leaves a lot of impact on the viewer while watching it. In conclusion, 1917 is an outstanding war movie and was satisfying to me as someone who has a keen interest in this period of history. This is easily one of the most immersive and engaging films of 2019, which is surprising thinking about it considering how simple it is. I'm not criticizing the film when saying that, since I think its simplicity is what makes the film work as well as it does. This film also proves why Roger Deakins is one of the greatest cinematographers of all time, and though it's highly unlikely, I really hope he wins another Oscar for Best Cinematography because he deserves it. 1917 is not only one of the best war movies I've ever seen, but it's also one of my favorite movies of 2019. Definitely check this one out in theaters because it's the only way that this film should be experienced. I am giving 1917 my highest grade of approval, which is an A+.